What's up, Virgo, and welcome to your July 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kaylee Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is working on their personal growth, self-expression, or spirituality in any form. So if those areas of life are important for you, I encourage you to go ahead and keep watching. I also want to say that you can use this reading for your sun, moon, or your rising sign, and it's also possible if sometimes they don't resonate. I encourage you to come back and listen to the video at the end of the month if that's the case for you, because a lot of times what I hear from people is that some of the things that they heard the first time around didn't really make sense, but when they come back to it at the end of the month, there are a lot of times some interesting connections. So, all right, Virgo, let's get into your messages. So while I was tuning in for you, I was being shown someone kind of holding I don't know if it's called a gauntlet or if that's the wrong word, but it was almost like a staff with fire at the top of it. So torch, basically. And the person was kind of closing their eyes in meditation, and they were sort of feeling the fire in the torch, like they could feel the energy of it kind of coming, the heat basically radiating off of it. And there was some kind of significance that the person was holding the torch. Like they were the only one holding it. They had to hold it. And I think that when I really kind of tap into this imagery and what I feel it means for you, this message is like you might have to be the one holding the torch in your life, Virgo. And I think it's really important for you to really stay connected, creatively connected to your purpose. And my readings are typically for artists, entrepreneurs, creators, people who own companies or who are starting businesses or who are self-employed, or who are just artistic and creative in their life, like living a creative lifestyle of some way. And so one of the things that I feel with this is like, whatever you're doing right now, Virgo, it's important to stay focused on the meaning of it. Even if you're, let's say, a fantasy fiction writer, there is still so much meaning in what you do, even if what you do is primarily just to entertain people and tell a great story. People need that, like we freaking need that right now so bad. And so I'm almost like my eyes are watering a little bit because I think there's such a humble energy to the archetype of Virgo. And a lot of that comes from you guys as a sign just being so much about service, really. And I think there could be some ways in which you may have recently maybe gotten distracted a little bit from the meaning of what you're really offering, or maybe the stress of certain events that have been going on in your life have just distracted you a little bit from that deep realization of like that you're the bearer of the light. Like in this meditation, the person with the torch, you are bearing the light, your light. And oh my gosh, I just got chills because I almost just heard that song, This Little Light of Mine. I don't know all the lyrics because it's probably been years and years since I've heard anybody sing that song, but that just gave me so many chills. It's like, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Like maybe that sounds so, I don't know, typical in a way because this is tarot and it's kind of a new ageism of, shine your light. But I really feel like I mean it for you, Virgo. I mean it for you. I really think that this is so important for you, is to recognize that in your own way, you are spreading light. In your own way, you are doing meaningful work in the world. Even if you make homemade crocheted socks on Etsy, we need you. We need you to bring joy into people's lives. We need you to just do your thing and just being a good person too. It's like just being a freaking good, balanced person, a grounded person, deliciously Virgoan energy of like being purposeful, grounded, practical. We need you guys. We need you guys right now. So I hope that that is helpful for someone out there if you have been doubting anything or distracted a lot, to help you come back to your purpose and really visualize what your intention is as well. Like if you can sum up your intention for your work or your creativity or just for your life in general, you can sum up one sentence of an intention that you can repeat to yourself every day. That is like the best thing that you can do to remind yourself of what you're here to do. For example, mine is, I'm here to relieve unnecessary mental suffering using my gifts. So that's just like one little phrase, but it means so much to me because I know that now I have a little yardstick that I can judge my efforts by. If I'm relieving some unnecessary suffering somewhere in the world, I've done my job and I can go to sleep well that night. So something along those lines for you can just be so simple, but really realigns you with your purpose. It really realigns you with, you know, something that feels like, okay, this is a worthy enterprise. Like this is a worthy sacrifice to make. Everything we do is a sacrifice. And we just gotta find ways to make that worthy, you know, to earn, you know, earn the purpose that we have in our lives and really putting that forward. So I'm gonna put this down so I can check out your cards. I'm also going to get you Animal Spirit Oracle cards. Well, and I'm also going to get you a Bob Ross card. And Surrender Oracle. All right, so we've got Beaver and Dolphin. All right, so two water creatures. The Beaver is your path and the Dolphin is the energy crossing you. So I do feel like this is about finding joy in your work. The Beaver card has a lot to do with effort. And again, you know, similar to the meditation, what I talked about is, you know, putting your time and energy into something that feels meaningful and recognizing that you can work harder and you can work smarter and you can work in a more motivated way when you are framing what you're doing in an empowering way. So if you are focused on the fact that whatever you do is of benefit to other people and you really care about that and you really feel that within yourself, like with conviction, you are going to probably enjoy the work that you do more, which is the Dolphin, and you're also going to get more done, which is the Beaver. So again, it's about really reframing your narrative about your work, Virgo. I see that being very, very strongly indicated with these cards. So let's take a look. There's a lot of joy coming in with this, though, with the Dolphin. So let's take a look at your cards. We've got 10 of Pentacles, the Fool, Queen of Wands, Page of Swords, the Chariot, the Star, the Sun, wow, and the Two of Cups. Fascinating. So got a lot of majors here. You've got 4 out of 8 cards are major arcana. So that's statistically running quite high. I think it's the highest I've seen of any of the readings so far for July. And, you know, when I look at the Three of Pentacles, or the, sorry, not the three, the 10 of Pentacles with the Fool in the first week of July. For you, Virgo, I really get the sense that you are entering into like commerce in a new way. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to play out for each of you as individuals, but I really strongly see the Fool walking into this marketplace, right, which is the 10 of Pentacles. And this card also represents financial stability and kind of like wealth that is generated through the free market in a way. Like it's generated through people genuinely wanting to trade with each other. There's a sense of like a market that's there for something that you want to do. So I think this is really beautiful, Virgo, and I really feel like you are like it's interesting that you have dogs in both of these images. So some of you could be starting like a business that has to do with animals in some way, or dogs, or it could just be that you're really following your instincts when it comes to financial decisions and when it comes to business decisions that you're making. So this is just a really fantastic energy that we have here. I do see you kind of going open-hearted into something that is, oh gosh, just, it's going to be really profoundly successful for you, Virgo, if you stick with it, and if you want to do it. Like if you're wanting to do the work, if you're wanting to kind of open your heart to this path, I see that as being really, really powerful. So that's going on at the time that we actually have this lunar eclipse in Capricorn, which is actually in your 5th house. So it's a good house for you. Lunar eclipses, you know, this one is obviously lunar eclipses are on a full moon. So when we have this full moon in Capricorn and it's an eclipse and it's falling symbolically in your 5th house, eclipses and full moons can relate to completions and great change as well. So the 5th house as well as creativity and self-employment. So you could have maybe even like you could be finishing a project, like a long-term project with the Capricorn eclipse going on, you know, in your symbolic 5th house. You could be finishing something like that was a long-term project. You could be doing something very unusual with a long-term project. You could be switching things up in some way. So I definitely feel that strongly for you, and I think it's exciting. So that's the first week of July. The Queen of Wands and the Page of Swords are coming up in the 2nd week of July. So one of the things that I kind of feel could be a factor here is you could have some spirited conversations with a fire sign woman or a fire sign person in general. It doesn't have to be male or female, but just a fire sign person close to you. Could be Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. There could be an element of like somebody who's like a potential benefactor for you, or somebody who has like a very spirited, creative approach to things. And this could be a positive thing, but it's stirring you. It's stirring things up with the Page of Swords. I don't necessarily see it as inherently negative or inherently positive. If anything, I'm leaning more towards the positive, but I do feel like this is just with the Page of Swords, it's like it's stirring some kind of intellectual concepts for you, maybe even potentially working together with a fire sign person in the 2nd week of July. There's just an overall sense of like really seeing potentials that you didn't see before, and the result of that is that you're going to potentially set your sights, you know, on something higher or further away or something bigger, but it's because of like the conversations that you're having with someone who maybe looks at the world a little bit differently than you, right? Because I personally think of the Queen of Wands as like a Sagittarius energy, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, which is the opposing, you know, it's like the planet that Mercury, your ruler, has the least in common with. Like Jupiter sees the expansion, the bigger picture. Mercury likes to see the details. Sagittarius likes to expand and grow like indiscriminately and just experience everything. And Virgo likes to like narrow down and get to the specifics. So there's a sense of like maybe that you're being benefited in the middle of the month by taking a broader view of things, and that broader view could be coming through conversations that you have with someone who maybe has like a Sagittarian type of nature to them. But I do feel like overall this is a really good thing. I think it's stimulating you to ask for more from life, and that's always a good thing, because what we ask for, if we ask consistently and we're willing to do the work, life always hears us and responds. I truly believe that. That's real empowerment, is recognizing that our life is set up in such a way that if we raise our vibration to a certain level and we focus on a certain energy to the detriment of other energies, we can really manifest more of that in our life. We are conscious creators. So I do see some inspiration actually coming through in the second week of July for you. And this makes a lot of sense because by the third week of July, we have the Chariot and the Star. So it's interesting because we've got this energy of somebody who's like really suited up and really guarded. Right here we have this warrior energy with a lot of armor on. He's got a square on his chest. And then here we have a naked woman who's really in the flow, and she's pouring water down back onto the earth, and it's this very kind of flowing energy. Whereas here we have this more kind of like, I guess I want to say, yeah, like guarded a little bit. So in the second week of July, or the third week, I'm sorry, you could feel like it's kind of a delicate dance to, I want to say, use your intuition to guide your practical actions. But I think if you find that balance within yourself, Virgo, it's going to really help you. So you can look, I may have talked about this in a past reading, but I did a video on how to tell the difference between fear and impulse and intuition. So if you just type in on YouTube, how to tell the difference between fear, impulse, intuition, Kaylee Jean, it should come up right away. Or if I remember, I'll put the link below the video. But this feels to me like your main focus in the third week of July, because I think a lot can come when you trust yourself, which is the Star card. But then you have to like act on that, on what you get. And we all have to kind of wear a persona. We all have to put on some kind of armor in the world. That doesn't mean that it's not authentic. It just means that, you know, when we go out there and start doing creative things, or when we start a business, we have to be prepared to engage with potential rejection, right? And so it helps to have some armor on so that we're not taking everything personally. But we don't want to be so guarded that we're completely blocking off like our subtle senses. So I think moving forward strongly in your career is going to be important for you in the third week of July, but also really like doing some practices to stay in touch with your senses and with your sixth sense. So maybe a 10-minute a day meditation would really help you stay in this flowing star energy while you're kind of, you know, going through the rest of your day where you're having to like put your business hat on and make a lot of decisions and plan and be structured. Okay? So your spiritual practices are really important in the third week of July. Interestingly, that is also on July 20th, which is taking us into, you know, between the third and the fourth week of July, we have the another new moon in Cancer at 28 degrees of Cancer, which is symbolically, it's in your 11th house, which is the house of connections and colleagues and friends. So it's funny seeing that, and then having the Sun card come up with the Two of Cups, because honestly, I feel like a new moon happening in that area of your chart is really strongly speaking to this idea that you can collaborate more, Virgo, and that you can have beautiful connections with other people in your industry. This could be the start of a business partnership at the end of July. It could also be as we go into Leo season, and the sun moves into Leo, you could start to feel like support is coming to you from angles that you didn't expect. And you could start to feel like, you know, you could start to really feel like, wow, I didn't realize that I could be this supported. You know, I didn't realize that I could make connections this easily. I didn't realize that, like, there's this joy that I see you taking when it comes to like appreciating other people, you know? And that's kind of a similar energy to what we see at the beginning of the month, interestingly, with the Fool walking into the Ten of Pentacles. There, it's about opening your heart to an industry, opening your heart to a growth path that has to do maybe with entrepreneurial success or creative success. But here, it's like, oh my God, like I feel that in my heart. Like I feel this isn't just an industry. This isn't just a book I'm writing. This isn't just a YouTube channel I'm creating. This isn't just a fellowship. Like, this is real. These are real connections. This is personal. Like, you're enjoying people. You're just enjoying people. And I think it's so, like, it's like a breath of fresh air. Because after all this time where we've had lockdowns and we've had social distancing and many people have felt that they couldn't speak their truths, you know, because of the intense pushing that's going on and the injustices and the sadness and the collective pain. People have felt, you know, quite alone within their own self because it's such a tense time. And I think there's some relief from that for you, Virgo, so it looks really beautiful. Could even be the start of a new romantic relationship at the end of the month as well for some of you. Oh my God. And then after all this, your message from Bob Ross is, there's nothing wrong with having a tree for a friend. After all this talk of like new friends and stuff, then you get this message of there's nothing wrong with having a tree for a friend. Oh, so beautiful. So it could be also togetherness with nature as well for you guys. And just maybe even having unusual friendships as well, like friendships that you didn't expect. Ooh, I got you guys a surrender card, and the message is, surrender the habit of people pleasing. So it says, speak your needs and be true to yourself. Focus on your own happiness instead of always trying to make everyone else happy. It's beautiful. So I will leave that with you, Virgo. I hope this reading has been useful or beneficial to you in some way. If you enjoyed these messages, please feel free to leave me a little purple heart emoji below if you have emojis, or you can just write hearts or something like I'm still with you. I absolutely love getting those little comments from you guys, and it really does boost my sense of just feeling connected to you, and knowing that you are still with me just gives me the confidence and the commitment to just keep going forward with these videos. They really do touch my heart, and so I just want you guys to know that. And they, of course, support my channel too, because every bit of interaction that happens on videos on YouTube is rewarded in the algorithm. So thank you so much for being here. Please let me know in the comments what you thought. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and subscribe to notifications if you never want to miss a video from me. I hope you guys have an amazing month in July. I'm sending you tons of love, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.